Hello, welcome back to 3D Drawing for Your Model Railway. In today's lesson, I'm going to look at drawing a UIC buffer. It's a ferry van buffer. We're going to be using this again in the future on the model we're going to produce. But I'm also producing this for someone that has asked me to model it for them. They've supplied me loads of photographs with tape measures held up against it, so we've got plenty of things to work from. They've also supplied me an image that has all the dimensions wrote down on as well that we're going to work for. We're going to draw it to full scale to show you how we can do that, and then we'll show you how you then can scale it down to each of the gauges that we require. So the first thing I'm going to do is get the backing plate drawn on. So I'm just going to come into Fusion, create a sketch. Doesn't really matter what profile we're going to draw in a moment, and we're going to use a center point rectangle. Drag that out. Okay, so looking at dimensions, we've got 360 wide and 240 mils tall. So we can define that. 260 by 240. Okay, it's got a slight curve on the end here, so if we select these two profiles, actually I'm wondering, looking at the photos, there's a whole curve throughout the whole. Let's actually escape that. Let's do it a different way. If we extrude this forwards, if we look at the pictures, this is one that measures the length. Yep. So we're looking at probably 30 mil, 40 mil forwards, and then fillet this off. Got variable radius. That's not going to do what we want. Let's cancel that. See if we go a different way. Do that. That's not going to do what I want. Chord length. Okay, so it's not going to achieve what I want, so I'm going to have to try and draw this slightly differently, I think. So if we're going to come back in the history, let's draw a line. We'll use a spline point. I'm going to curve in and round. Got that snapped vertical now. It's dimension there to there. Angle. Distance. So it's 20 mil. Drag that dot up a little bit, I think. Let's define the positions of these. Set them up. and then I'm going to fix those into position. Then we can mirror that. Mirror line here. If we finish that sketch, edit the feature to not include that bit on the corner. Then we'll do the mirror feature. Oh, that's not going to work. I'll have to come back into the sketch. We'll draw a line across. Mirror that feature across that mirror line. That's done that. And draw a line down. And we can mirror both of those features across that centre line there. And then get the extrusion to not include those parts on the backing plate. Okay, so we've got that basic shape there now. Okay, so the next thing we'll do is get the main part of the shank here. So looking at this, so we're saying it's 36 centimetres all the way across. The side of the shank here probably looks like it's in line with about 30. So take 6 off each side. So we're going to be coming 24 centimetres across. So we create a sketch on that front surface. Again, we use a centre point circle and 240 centimetres. That goes right to the very top and bottom. Let's just check that matches. If we look at the pictures, so it's slightly short, so it'll probably come down a little bit. So if we go to 30 millimetres, that probably looks better. Okay, now we need to work out how far to extend it. We've got 30 millimetres on the end there. It's coming out 48, so it'll be 45 millimetres extrusion. And that obviously that thickens up at the end here. So what we'll do is create a sketch on the front surface here. And we'll do a circle that's slightly bigger. So we've already got 230, so let's go 245. And we'll just select that. And we'll extrude it back in. 48, just 3 centimetres, 30 millimetres. Okay, and then the next part goes from 48 to 56. So we've got 80 millimetres. I'm going to go 220 on the circle and extrude that to 80 millimetres. I think what I'm actually going to do is continue this part all the way through to what would be the buffer head. So we're going from 56 through to 63. So we're looking at another 70 mil on there. Okay, and I believe on the sketch 630. So if we inspect from that face to that face, we've got 630, perfect. we're going to go on an oval. So this is 53 centimetres. You've got to be careful, the top's clipped on this buffer here. So top and bottom are clipped. So I'm going to go for 42. So 53 by 42. Create a sketch on the front surface. We're going to be using the ellipse tool. So 530. What happened to the ellipse there? Let's undo that then. Okay, so 530. And then it's a 420. Extrude these back into the body. How far back do we go? We need to find that picture here. So we're going to give that a thickness of, I'm going to go for 15 centimetres, so 15 millimetres. Oops. Let's edit that and join. Might need to thicken this up when we come to narrow it down and print it, but we'll see how we go with that. Okay, so now a lot of what we're going to do on the back of the buffer head will be guesstimated because there is no defined drawing, unfortunately. Okay, so I'm going to create this surface here, the larger bit with a thinned out back. So I'm going to create a sketch on that axis, so we're going to create on the side axis. So I'm actually going to draw a construction line that comes out. Oops. Turn that into a construction line. Okay, and I want like that. Create a circle there, and the midpoint, and obviously the rectangle here. Not sure why that we got that there, we don't want that. We do want a line from there to there, though, which didn't draw in. Okay, let's have a look at height. So that's going to go pretty much to the top. So I'm going to drag that up. Like that. So define. Define that height. 170. Define the radius on the circle. 7.5. Thickness of that part there. 1. Distance from there. And that's all defined now. And then what I'm going to do is draw a line across there. Then I should be able to select only part of that circle, holding shift down, selecting those three profiles. And let's see if I come out of the sketch first, then select them. I'm going to use the revolve tool. So that's it. Get into the profiles. Axis is going to be this construction line we've drawn. And so join. That gives us that circle on the back. Now that circle might need to change. Because if you're looking at that, yeah, it's probably a bit thick. Let's change that then. Let's try 40 mil. Change that to 175. I think that looks better. So the next thing we'll draw on these brackets, which are welded into position here. They weren't part of the original buffer, but we'll draw them on. And we're going to draw them on, I think I'm going to draw them on the top profile here. Okay. We actually need another shroud actually. Before we do that, let's go back in history, one position, and draw another circle on here. Let's go 230mm and extrude that. Then let's join. So that needs to come back 70 millimeters. So, oops. Right, now if we come back in history to the sketch. Okay, so what we're going to do is draw a line that comes out and diagonals across. Coincidence to that point there. And coincidence. It's not going to work. Let's undo that. Let's just drag that close to the end there. And then we'll define. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Define that angle. Okay, we're going for 140. So that's not a profile that we can actually do anything with at the moment. So we're going to just drag the line into the buffer face, and it doesn't matter about being too precise because we're just going to pattern this round. The angle is outside of the circle here, so we can drag this up. The angle probably needs to get sharp. We delete the angle to start with, drag that back down, that's it, and then define that. That's the angle defining that. That's fully constrained. That's constrained. It's all fully constrained there. Okay, I'm going to do an extrusion on that. Let's rotate it sideways on, and we'll do symmetrical. I don't think there's any measurements on these, but looking at that, it's only sort of 10mm plate. I will need a bit more than that to be able to reduce and print it. So I'm going to join it. I'm going to go 20mm. See this issue here? We're going to drag this back down here now. Okay. So let's edit that. There you go. I've done is I've basically undefined it to this part here and just dragged it back down slightly. And that's now joined. Okay, now I'm going to do circuit pattern. So the features to be that one just drawn, axis being the red circle. Okay, we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so now I've got that pattern on the rear, let's rotate that back round. But what we do have is overlapping parts. So what I'm going to have to do is chop off some bits. With that pattern as well, I'm going to turn to the first one, I'm going to turn off the top one and the bottom one, because they look like they're completely different shapes. They're just a triangle piece that comes in. So with these, what I'm then going to do is select the faces that are sticking out, holding down Shift while I select them all, and then extrude. I'm just going to remove them all. Let's try again. Extrude, holding down Shift while I select these faces. It's not letting me. Okay, so I'll go. Weird, it's not letting me do that. So I'll just select each face independently, just cut them off. It's not perfect, but 4mm you're not going to notice that, and an N-gauge you're definitely not going to notice that. Okay, let's look at the bolts now in the back. Okay, sketch on the plate surface, slide through. I'm using the circumference polygon. It's 6 sides. Drag out. So I've already got a set of 6. We have 25mm. I haven't got dimensions, I don't think. 25 is probably a bit bigger than that. Yeah, might have. It's probably right, actually, 25. So move it in slightly. Let's do dimensions. 35 down. From the midpoint, 141. Extrude it out, 25mm. Okay, let's add in this little bucket here. I'm going to use side profile to slice through. Slightly lower diagonally like that. Again, I'm not going to be too fancy with dimensions. Slightly and extrude that profile. It's symmetrical again. 20 mil untape drawing. And then we need to mirror it for the book. Mirror the feature. Mirror that part. Mirror line, midpoint, to the bottom. You can grab that as part of. Hold down mouse button to be able to zoom through to get the profile after. And add that on the bottom as well. The next thing I'm going to add this little wing on that's on both sides. So I'm going to create a sketch on the bottom surface here. And it's just really a triangular piece. Actually, let's have a quick look before we do that. Do we have... Doesn't really show. See if we can coincidence the edge and then draw a line from there and come inside to make sure we can pick the whole profile. Extrude symmetrically. Symmetrically even. Rotate join. Go for 30 mil. Okay, so if we draw these bits on the top next, so you've got a little circle with a square on top, and that looks like it starts at 30 and finishes at 36. I'm going to do an offset plane from the middle surface there. Drag that up so it's just below it, like that. So come up 100 mil, and then we draw a circle around the midpoint there. That's going to be 60 mil diameter. We want 30, there's 300 plus the 30 is a 330. Select that profile and extrude that upwards. It's only just got to come just above the top of the top surface. Click join, and then it's got a square or rectangle on top here. Let's actually use a centre point rectangle. I'll use it around the midpoint. Let's go 48mm on that one. So we get the snap of the edge, that's it. And extrude up. Okay, there we go. The next part is this little brace here. So when this door fall comes down, it sits on here. Or actually this hoop sits on here. So again, I'm going to be using that construction plane we just created. So, do a rectangle. So looking at this, we're about 10 centimeters to 20 centimeters. Let's do center rectangle, find that midpoint. It's going to be 100 long. I reckon about 50 wide. So that point to the end, we want to do 100. Select the profile. It just sticks up slightly. Cut. Look at that. That should be a join. And then on the top surface, it's got just a small rectangle, which is slightly higher. So let's go 20mm. And come up by 20. So the next one we're going to add on is this cut out on the side. And I'm going to draw that on side profile here. Let's use a rectangle tool. Away from that. So it's pretty close to this here. Probably going to actually want a centre rectangle. I give that 50mm. It does come past there, so 50 by 125. And then I'm going to do an offset of that. Actually, wait a minute. Let's do fillets on the corners first. 15mm fillet. And then we'll offset that whole profile to minus 25. Nope, that's not going to work. Yeah, -10. Okay, so we're going to want to select the inner profile, extrude symmetrically. I'll bring that all the way out. Cut. And then we'll get that sketch turned back on again. And select the outer profile. And do that as an extrude symmetrically as well. At 120, we're doing that as a join. And then I'm going to select that in the profile again. Again, I'm going to do symmetrical. I'm not going to come all the way out this time. We're going to go 100, so it's going to leave the rest of the inside filled in, just with that cut out on the side. Okay, so the last thing really we need to do is to clip the top and the bottom of the buffers. If we draw on that top profile, it's going to draw a line across the buffer. It's going to put sort of pretty much just above. I'm actually going to just do it in line with them. So like that, and we'll do the same across the other side. So they're both parallel across. Extrude that, cut in the top of the buffer, mirror that feature across. Select the green profile line. That's clipped off the top and bottom of the buffer here. And as I say, it's got to clip these off so that when the lower door here folds down, this will sit on top of the buffer. So this bit's going to sit here, and then that top of the door sits on top of the buffer. Okay, what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to round off these two edges. So fill it that and that. I'm just going to bring those in 15 millimeters. Okay, so there we go. We've produced the UIC buffer. This is going to be quite a useful buffer to have as well, because there's going to be lots of wagons that are potentially going to use the same design. Anything that would have basically gone on the train ferry across to the continent. So you're going to have some flat rolls, Lomax. There's ferry vans, so it's going to be useful. The only big difference really is this has got an oval version, as opposed to some of them have just got a circle version. But essentially what you've got is where this circle bit here, this is the back of the normal buffer. So if you just cut off from this point forwards a circle, then you would have the normal sort of circular buffer rather than the oval version. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and as I say, this will be used in a future project coming up, so if you haven't drawn it, you may want to consider doing that. Okay, so actually now we've got it down to fully drawn, let's scale this. So if we scale it to 00, select the body. If I grab a calculator and show you how I can scale it. So basically what you do is you do 1 divided by the scale you want. So 00 is 76.2. So 1 divided by 76.2 gives you 0.0131. So we can then scale that here for 0.0131. That buffer is now 00 scale. We can check some simple things like how thick will the buffer face be, and decide whether that's going to be thick enough. It'll be 0.2 millimeters. So I would probably make that a little bit thicker, just because it's not going to be particularly strong there. the rear back plate. So we go from the front face to the back face. It's 0.39. Again, I'll probably going to make this a little bit thicker, just so that it's going to actually come out okay. So if we just extrude the back plates, maybe extrude by 0.15, give that a bit of beef. We'll do the same on the front here. Let's do 0.3, I think. So that's half a mil thick. I think that'll be fine for what I'm after. So I'm going to save that. Now I've run out of editables, so let's just change these. Read only. And then do file. Save as. Below. Okay, and then if we open up, go back to here, go recent. Edit this, and then we're going to turn this into engage. So we're going to scale this, and using a calculator. So it's going to be 1 British engage is going to divide by 148. So 0.00675. 0.00675. Tiny, tiny, tiny. I'm just going to extrude this forwards. Let's do 0.4 millimeters. Obviously, it looks quite fat now, but you've got to live with. Got to live with the half millimeter there, which is fine. And that edge is half millimeter, so you've got to live with these compromises to be able to get them to print. Let's save this. So again, make that read only. And we can save this one as N. So I hope you found that video useful. Thanks for watching.